All right, let's dive into something truly unique today. Picture this. Brighton Beach. Absolutely packed, sold-out crowd, summer heat. Now, Brighton Beach, as the commentary team, really hammered home. It's known as the gay capital of the United Kingdom.
Right, they mentioned that quite a bit.
And right there on the actual sand, just, a stone's throw from the ocean, there's a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
This isn't your typical arena show. This is an NWA special event, Graps on the beach, and, well, it sounds like it got pretty wild.
Oh, absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're essentially peeling back the layers from a YouTube video transcript. We're taking you behind the scenes of this event, which honestly was just packed with high-stakes matches, some really shocking disruptions, deeply personal drama, and maybe most importantly, a company that seems like it's teetering right on the brink.
So our mission here is to pull out the most crucial bits from this chaotic, but you have to admit, really entertaining source material. We want to help you understand all these tangled storylines and the surprisingly high stakes for basically everyone involved. Wrestlers, the NWA itself.
Yeah, everyone.
And this is where it really gets interesting. So first things first, let's talk about this setting. Brighton Beach. It's not just a backdrop, is it? It's almost like another character in the show.
Totally. The commentary team really played that up, calling it the gayest city in England, the gay capital, really highlighting that vibrant feel.
And the visuals must have been something. Sold out crowd, sunny weather. Though there was a bit of confusion there, right? First 31 Celsius, almost 88 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Then someone corrected it to 25 Celsius, about 77 Fahrenheit. Still warm, but maybe more comfortable for wrestling.
Right. But that whole vibe, the outdoor arena feel, the ring literally on the sand near the ocean, it sounds pretty refreshing.
It does. But what immediately jumps out, and the commentators pointed this out too, is what this venue choice might say about the NWA's finances. Holding a big event on a beach, not in a proper building. Well, it was flagged as a potential sign that, money's running out. That maybe deals aren't coming through as fast, especially after they apparently got kicked out of their previous venue, Butlins.
Right. That definitely sets a precarious tone right from the start, doesn't it? Like the company's fighting for survival.
Exactly. It hangs over the whole event.
And guiding us through all this are the commentators, Glenn and JJ. Sounds like they're pretty well-known voices for the NWA audience.
Yeah, assumed knowledge, it seems. They also mentioned Carl being absent, teasing some big news from him. Mysterious.
And this kind of commentary, the insights from the booth, it often gives you a fascinating peek behind the curtain, right? Did they offer any broader thoughts on the wrestling world?
They did, actually.
Yeah.
There was a bit about the constant speculation in the industry. One of them mentioned Dave Meltzer, the journalist. Oh, yeah. And how he'd supposedly been predicting TNA's downfall for like 2 decades.
Okay.
So it kind of serves as this reminder about the wrestling rumor mill, you know, how some predictions just never happen. Adds a bit of skepticism to any big claims about a company's future.
Good point. Okay, let's shift to the ring. First big conflict. The NWA Women's Tag Team Championship. We've got the champs, the Coven Sky Blue, and Julia Hart.
Right, the Queens of the Dark or Black Heart. They've held these titles since they were brought back, apparently.
And they're young. Julia Hart's 22. Sky Blue is even younger.
Yeah?
Like 11 years younger than one of the commentators who said he was 34.
Wow. Yeah. But the commentary stressed they've already mastered the mind games, the psychological stuff. Impressive for their age.
Definitely. And their challengers, Team Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai, big contrast there.
A huge contrast. Tegan's a former champ in her own right, Welsh heavyweight champion. But Dakota Kai, she's a veteran, late 30s, bringing that experience the champs maybe lack. But, and this is key to her story, she's battling dodgy knees, wearing a brace. Apparently, she's even thinking about moving into a manager role because of the injuries.
So this title shot is huge for her personally. It could sway her decision.
Exactly what the commentary suggested. Really high personal stakes for Dakota Kai.
Gotcha. And the match itself sounded pretty action-packed. Sky Blue had a move called Hoogarod Away.
Yeah, unique name. And Dakota Kai brought her strong style kicks, really laying them in, hard-hitting stuff.
Right. Julia Hart with a Superman punch, or maybe a Superwoman punch.
Yeah, fitting. And Tegan Knox hit her Welsh Destroyer. Plus, Team Kid had some cool double team stuff.
Like that backdrop that almost sends Sky Blue into the ocean?
Yeah, imagine that spot. A double arm Irish whip, too. They were working well together.
But the Coven had their moments, too. Sky Blue's Skies of Darkness finisher.
Yep, and a choke slam. which got compared to Kane, naturally, but playfully called Big Blue or Big Rainbow Machine.
Okay, haha. And there was a weird hint about Jezebel and Nixon Mule being the same person.
Yeah, just a quick mention. Added a bit of extra intrigue, maybe setting something else up down the line. Who knows?
Okay, so the ending. This sounds like where things got messy.
Very messy. Juilliard gets knocked out, lands on the sand, which they made a point of saying was harder than a rock to land on.
Oh, yeah. Sand can be deceptively hard.
So the ref starts a count. She doesn't make it back. Team Kit wins by countout.
But the titles don't change hands on a countout, right?
Exactly. Crucial detail. The Coven are still the champions, which, is a bit unsatisfying.
So what was the fallout from that?
Immediate. NWA management booked a rematch right away for the next big show, NWA 77.
And they added something.
Oh, yeah. Big stipulation, no countouts, no disqualifications. They want a clear, decisive winner this time. Makes sense.
Okay, ensuring a proper finish. But just when you think the tag title situation is the main drama.
Boom. John Moxley shows up. Or Don Mark, as they sometimes call him.
Yeah, his arrival alone is a huge deal. But what did he actually do? What did he reveal?
Just pure chaos. He walks out and reveals he has the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt.
What? How?
He claims he took it from Nick Wayne at Nick's wedding 4 months ago.
No way. At his wedding.
Yep. Said he turned Nick's happiest day into his worst nightmare. Just brutal.
Wow. Okay, so he's got the belt. What's his demand?
His ultimatum is for NWA 77, the big anniversary show. He knows that's supposed to be the unification match between Nick Wayne and Will Ospreay, who has this interim title.
Right, the ladder match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moxley demands to be put in that ladder match, make it a triple threat.
It's okay. And if they refuse?
That's the kicker. If they don't meet his demand, he says he'll keep the NWA World title and the interim belt and take them both straight to AEW.
Whoa.
Yeah, he even says he's already signed an AEW contract, threatens to make the belts vanish into Mr. Johnson's office or just parade them on AEW TV. Basically, hold them hostage or destroy their credibility.
That is audacious. It's not just about a title. It's like weaponizing his AEW contract against the NWA. What does that say about the power dynamics here?
It says everything, doesn't it? It shows just how vulnerable a smaller promotion like NWA is when a big star can just do that. Hold their top prize hostage.
So how did the NWA president react? He must have been losing it.
Totally losing it. His reaction was pure desperation. He basically said, I ain't got a choice, right? Mm-hmm. Terrified Moxley would literally throw it in the fucking trash on AEW television.
Yeah, you can see why he'd be panicked.
His only hope, he said, was praying that either Nick Wayne or Will Ospreay wins at NWA 77. Unify the belts, get them back, send Moxley packing to AEW.
So did he make any moves, any counter strategy?
He did. A really interesting one. He brought in legends, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson.
Wow. Hall of Famers.
Absolute NWA icons. The heart and soul of their tag division, as the president put it. And apparently, despite their age, they can still go. Wrestle every weekend.
So who were they targeting? Not Moxley directly?
No, his allies. The Death Riders, Sammy and Jack, who happen to be the current NWA Tag Team Champions. The president called them a cancer on the company.
Okay, so there's serious heat there. But the transcript digs into why, right? There's some really personal stuff behind this.
Oh yeah, it gets incredibly personal. The NWA president flat out admitted he traded Sammy and Jack's wives to Glenn.
He what? Traded their wives?
Yeah. Said it was a business decision because he was offered gold. Claims he's been trying to do right by them ever since, but...
Wow. No wonder they hate this company, as the transcript said. Spray painting the belts.
Exactly. And their individual motivations are pretty raw, too. Sammy's called an absolute dick, just running on pure anger, even though he apparently said he was doing it for his daughter, Luna. And Jack is supposedly even more pissed because his partner, Anna Jay, actually dumped him. And now she's in WWE, going solo, done with him. So he blames the president, the company, everything.
Man, that's a lot of baggage. So how did the match go? Rock and Roll Express versus Death Riders.
Death Riders won. And Sammy, twisting the knife, used the GTS finisher, the go to sleep.
Wait, isn't that the move that gave the NWA president a concussion scare at the Royal Rumble?
The very same one. A total symbolic slap in the face to management. Calculated insult.
Just layers upon layers of bad blood. And going back to Moxley, the source commentary didn't pull any punches on him either, did it?
Not at all. Described him as trash from a poor neighborhood in Cincinnati, someone who doesn't spell respect. Pretty harsh stuff.
They mentioned he tried to get clean from alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, they acknowledged that, but immediately followed it up by saying it doesn't excuse how he's treating the NWA president. So zero sympathy there in the commentary.
It's interesting how much that off-screen persona, or at least the narrative around it, fuels the on-screen conflict. How much do you think that shapes things?
It's huge in wrestling, isn't it? That blurred line between the person and the character. By painting Moxley as this irredeemable villain here, regardless of his real-life struggles, it just amplifies the stakes of him holding the title hostage, rallies fans against him. Promotions use everything they can.
Right. Okay, let's pivot to another major storyline. The implosion of Imperium. Sounds like a backstage confrontation kick things off.
Yeah, Ludwig Kaiser confronts Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah.
Apparently saw him coming out of that bar the night before.
Okay. Why is that a big deal?
Because of Walter, or Fala, as they also called him.
Yeah.
The leader. Walter was all about traditionalism, strict discipline, a certain image for Imperium.
Ah, I see.
So Ludwig's worried, thinks Giovanni's lifestyle, or perceived lifestyle, could clash with Walter's views and, quote, shatter everything for the group.
But Giovanni wasn't having it.
Not at all. His response was defiant. Done pretending. Done hiding. Said he won't change for Walter or for anyone. Basically, I am who I am.
Good for him.
And then he threw down the gauntlet. Said if Walter, or even Ludwig, if he holds those same antiquated views, can't accept him, they'll settle it in the ring. Challenge Ludwig, partner or opponent.
Wow. What's the history there? Why is this hitting so hard?
Well, Ludwig's a second-gen wrestler, son of Axel Theater, friends with Walter since they were teenagers, deeply ingrained in that Imperium ideology, it seems.
Okay.
Giovanni, though, is portrayed very differently. Handsome man, nice guy, metropolitan, proud Italian, even wears the flag colors, compared to the Italian stallion. Clearly a huge sentimental favorite with that Brighton crowd.
And there's more history, right? Didn't Giovanni try to leave Imperium before?
Yeah, the transcript mentions he approached NWA management wanting to break out with a new gimmick. But Kaiser didn't appreciate that different side. Vinci apparently left WWF, presumably WWE, before the name change for NWA in disgust over Kaiser's attitude.
So this has been simmering.
Definitely. NWA management even admitted pushing Vinci into a gimmick he didn't want, while also noting, kind of pragmatically, that tag teams don't last forever and that they help fund wrestlers working elsewhere. It really highlights that tension between who a wrestler is and the character the company wants.
So it led to a match at Graps on the beach, Kaiser versus Vinci.
Yep. Kaiser sided with Walter's traditionalism. They faced off. Vinci hit his Da Vinci bomb, a spinning tornado, and Vinci got the win.
A big win for him personally, then.
Huge. And the consequence was immediate. Walter himself called out Vinci right after, challenged him to the British Heritage Championship at NWA 77.
Another high-stakes, personal match set for the big show. Vinci definitely positioned as the fan favorite there.
Absolutely. The crowd's clearly behind him.
Okay, that leads us to the main event of Graps on the beach. Mixed tag team action.
Right. Nick Wayne and his wife, Billy, versus Johnny Gargano and his wife, Candice LeRae, the Poison Pixie.
And the Garganos were stirring the pot.
Oh, yeah. Straight up questioning Nick and Billy's relationship, calling it not a real couple, a teenage fling compared to their own, 8-year marriage, trying to get under their skin.
Classic heel tactics. But the commentary, they were really building up Nick Wayne, weren't they? Even with Moxley holding the physical belt.
Absolutely. They kept calling Nick the real NWA World Heavyweight Champion, said he won it fair and square at Starrcade. They emphasized his resilience coming back from injury, called him a grown-ass man, even though he's only 20. Talked up his respect, how he nearly beat John Bloody Cena in Japan, main evented Forbidden Door with huge names, basically framing him as the heart and soul of the NWA. Trying to keep the legitimacy with Nick, despite the Moxley situation. Smart. Exactly. Focusing on his integrity, his fighting spirit.
And how did the match go?
Nick and Billy got the win. Nick hit a stunner, his Wayne's World finisher. A good moment for them amidst all the chaos.
And the NWA president, even though he's clearly stressed, he found a moment to talk about the NWA's innovation.
Yeah, he did. He seemed genuinely proud of how NWA has, in his words, revolutionized things in its short time, especially pointing to these mixed tag matches as something unique, featuring real people with real emotions and real feelings.
That's nice, but can innovation pay the bills when you're facing this kind of crisis?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? because right after that moment of pride, we hear about his breakdown. He's visibly distressed. Amidst the money's running out, deals are drying up, the budget's going down. They couldn't even afford ending credits for the broadcast.
Wow, that's dire.
He basically says if the company goes under, they'll go out with a bang, but acknowledges that if Moxley wins that triple threat at NWA 77, he won't have a world champion. Might not even have a company show left.
Jeez. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Couldn't be.
But despite all that, he still believes in it. Still committed.
Seems like it. He reaffirmed his love for the business, said he got into it to make a fun place for wrestlers and to treat wrestling with the love he has for it. It really does sound like a passion project hitting some very harsh realities.
Yeah, you feel that tension and that passion, that desperation maybe, is what's fueling this absolutely stacked NWA 77 card. It feels like everything is riding on this one show.
So let's recap that NWA 77 card because it sounds crucial. The main event is the big one. Unified World Championship ladder match.
Triple threat. Mick Wayne, Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley. And the president is just desperately hoping Wayne or Ospreay wins, gets the belts back, and sends Moxley on his way to AEW.
That's the prayer, yeah. Then you got the women's tag title rematch. Team Kit versus the Coven.
No countouts, no DQs this time. Gotta have a winner.
Exactly. And the British Heritage Championship.
Yeah.
Walter defending against Giovanni Vinci.
The big personal clash. Vinci is the sentimental favorite.
Plus, Shako versus Mina is scheduled. And that interesting note about Junior.
Oh, yeah. The Crockett Cup winner with Kanoski T-shirt.
He's choosing not to cash in his title shot right now because the whole world title situation is such a mess, which tells you a lot about the instability, right?
Definitely speaks volumes.
Right.
So NWA 77, it's being framed as potentially the biggest match in the NWA's history.
But the question hanging over everything, as one commentator put it, is just who knows what happens to the NWA after this?
Yeah.
The entire future seems to hinge on these matches.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've just walked through this NWA event that was, well, anything but typical, wasn't it?
Not at all. From a show on Brighton Beach to the world title being held hostage by an AEW contracted wrestler. It's wild stuff.
We heard about these incredibly deep personal rivalries, apparently fueled by management decisions, and the struggles happening both in the ring and very clearly behind the scenes.
And NWA 77 is set up to be an absolute powder keg. That triple threat ladder match, the definitive women's tag rematch, the British Heritage title fight, it's all incredibly high stakes.
And you have the NWA president himself basically admitting the company might not survive. Money's running out. The future's totally uncertain.
It's a real pressure cooker.
This whole deep dive, it really shows you that microcosm of wrestling where the personal stories, the business side, the athletic competition, it all just crashes together in the most dramatic way possible. And it leaves us with a big question for you to think about. When a company is facing this kind of, well, existential crisis and those lines between real-life beef and storyline blur, what actually defines a champion? What does it really take for a promotion to survive?
Yeah, is it just about having the best talent? Is it loyalty? Is it just pure grit and the will to fight for what you believe in, even when, the sand is literally shifting under your feet?
Something to definitely mull over.